Welcome back to Golden Apple Reviews. I'm still in Chicago.
Okay, let's just take a second to acknowledge the fact that I look insane. Like, look at that, my hair, my shirt and everything. Like, I can't believe I filmed myself looking like this.
With my cousin. Unfortunately, our beautiful fire has been extinguished, but it's okay because we have these thingies up there now. Okay.
And also, if you're really confused and you're like, what fire? What are you talking about? That's because we filmed a video where we're doing like a quiz competition thing before this one, but it's not going to be posted until after this one, so just keep that in mind, just so that you don't get too confused, you know. Alright, back to the video.
Anyway, we're doing a double feature review today because we saw like 3 movies in the past 2 days. So we're going to review both of them, Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse and Aquaman, just in this video because they came out like a long time ago and we just finally saw them. So we're just going to put them all into one video. And yeah, here we go.
Later than never. Edit that out.
I will.
Alright.
Alright, so let's just start off. What do you think about both of them? Did you like them?
They were good movies, generally. The dialogue between both of them felt really strange and seemed inhuman, like no human would say it.
Okay.
More so Aquaman, but...
Right. I also liked both of them, and our aunt, who we saw both of them with us, she really didn't like Aquaman, though. Having a hard time convincing her that it was good. So let's start with Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, because we saw that one first.
My general thought on that movie is it was a good movie, but it just felt dumb.
Well, it felt dumb.
Yeah, it's like, why? I wanted to know more of, just like, more of the backstory of why Kingpin wanted to bring back his wife and his son. I know, because they left, but like, I feel like that could be easily changed into something different. Like, you could have used something different. I felt like the whole Collider thing was just used to bring all the Spider people together.
Yeah,
Like, Fisk could have done something different if you thought of all the outcomes.
Seriously, though, I cannot get over how I look right now. It's driving me crazy.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it was used for, because that's the whole premise for the movie, is having all these different versions of Spider-Man. And they were able to make that into, like, the threat. And I think they did. I think that they worked that in well. I mean, I don't think... Yeah, I understand what you're saying, though, about Kingpin's backstory. Like, they don't, like, you see a shot of him, like, beating up Spider-Man, and his family's there, and then they just leave, but we don't get anything else in that, so I see what you're saying. But I thought it was amazing, and I love how it's like more than any other superhero movie I've ever seen. It's like watching a comic book on the screen. Like, you even see, like, some thought bubbles and stuff, and some, like, sound effects literally on the screen, like you would reading a comic book. And it's a totally different way to do an animated film with, like, these captions and stuff. It's like, when people say, like, everyone said after the Avengers came out, like, 6 years ago, they were, like, felt like they were watching a comic book come to life. But I think they've really seen it a lot more.
This is a real comic book come to life. Like,
yeah. It's a really interesting way to animate a movie. I like that. And I didn't really have any problems with it at all. It's hard to think of any. I thought it was very interesting. It was really good. I liked all the different variations of Spider-Man and how, you know, these different kinds of them, because I hadn't really heard of any of them, but I had watched it was like Ultimate Spider-Man TV show or something. I watched it a couple years ago, and they did this story on there, so I'd seen these, but I didn't really know anything about any of them.
I really like how all the, like, animations, like, just look together. Because you can see when you were looking at Spider-Ham, he was 3D, and when you were looking at, like, Penny Parker, she was, like, anime style.
Yeah.
And then you look at Spider-Gwen, and she looks how, like, Miles and Peter looks. So it's like, which is a different, like, I feel like everyone's shaped differently. Like,
yeah.
3D or just, like, anime has this really flat sense to me where
one problem that our aunt pointed out to me was that like by trying to make it more like a comic book, they created this weird effect on the screen that kind of made it seem like it was meant to be like a 3D movie, but like when you're watching it, and it's not. We didn't see it in 3D, and we didn't have 3D glasses, but that does get a little annoying. That weird effect they did in the screen, but I understand why they're trying to do it. It makes sense, but that's one of the only complaints I have.
I liked how Uncle Aaron was like turned out to be Prowler, especially cause like they were fighting each other and they didn't even know it for a while. Like especially cause Miles looked up to his uncle like so much and thought he was the greatest, but turns out it was like his enemy.
Yeah,
one of his greatest foes.
Yeah. By the way, I totally predicted that he was going to be his uncle was going to be Prowler. I wasn't like I was kind of throwing around the idea where when they started talking about his uncle, and they're like I was not Prowler specifically, but that he was going to be like that. And then when you see the outline of him, like when on his window, I knew for sure that he was going to turn out to be him. Well, I didn't know for sure, but I had a pretty strong prediction.
I also like movies that like give hints to something. Like the number 42 came up a lot, and I like how it was just I researched it.
Well, you're trying to. We can figure out.
Oh, I googled it and I have it right here, and it pretty much just says the spider that bit Miles Morales had a 42 on the back. And we think it's from a parallel universe, and all the 42s throughout the film, like, try to, like, lead up. Because most of the 42s I could find were before Miles got bit. So, like, leading up to, like, a different parallel universe, which is theorized from the spider to be coming from. That didn't make any sense.
I kind of see what you're saying a little bit. But I discovered a plot hole, and I don't really remember this that clearly, but didn't Miles meet Gwen before the portal was opened? Like, didn't they meet before they opened the thing for the first time?
I'm trying to think. Maybe.
You know, those other versions got out? Because then, like, she's from an alternate reality, so how did he meet her before that? I don't remember. Because that just like came in my head today, and I don't remember if they meet before or after that happens. But if it's before, then that's a big plot hole. It doesn't really make any sense.
Alright, I'm freezing the video for the last time, I promise. Okay, so I was thinking about this for a while, and then I remembered that, like, at some point in the movie, Gwen does say that she, like, somehow the collider sent her, like, a week into the past, if I recall correctly. So, you know, that basically explains it. But that still doesn't really make that much sense, so I don't know. I'm still a little confused. Like, why didn't that happen in any of the other ones?
I like the like, old, fat version of Peter Parker. That's a cool way to do it. Because you think of him as, like, this young teenager who's just, like, perfect in every way. He's awesome superhero. But, yeah, they do, like, a different version of him. And I think that's cool. And a cool way to do it. So, yeah, I really liked it.
The casting, I like especially appreciated because like I think every person who was casted fit their roles perfectly. Like as an example, John Mulaney, who's like a famous comedian, played Spider-Ham, and I just think it was perfect. He did a great job, and I want a Spider-Ham movie.
A Spider-Ham movie?
Did I ever tell you that I had a fourth grade teacher named Mrs. Morales?
Oh, you did?
I did. Shout out to Mrs. Morales.
I'm sure she's watching this. Okay, you want to move on to the next one?
I think that's all, yeah.
Okay. So I feel like we have more to say about this
I have so much to say.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, let's hear. What do you have to say?
So, I found it a little bit Aquaman. It was like...
A little bit what?
Aquaman. I found it a little bit, like... It may sound weird, but I thought this was, like, they were trying to make a Thor movie just a little bit different. Like,
Thor movie?
Because when...
It felt like Black Panther to me.
Well, yeah. I'm just saying, when they casted, what was his name?
Momoa.
Something Momoa. I think it was John Momoa, Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa.
When they casted that guy, something Momoa, I feel like he reminded me of Thor. So I'm gonna call
his
him,
long hair.
yeah, the DC version of Thor, because that's what he reminds me of. So
Okay. Well, the plot of this reminded me a lot of Black Panther. He has to go back and reclaim the throne from his, well, it was his cousin in the Black Panther, but his brother, or his half-brother here. But I don't think, like, it's not like they like stole the idea after like their Black Panther's success. I think what happened was, I mean, they were in production at the same time, so that wouldn't have worked. But I think that's pretty funny that they came out the same year and they are like the same plot.
what if I become the king of a highly advanced society and you take over the throne, so I have to kill you? And there was this one part of the movie with Aquaman in like the final battle where Aquaman was swimming up from this giant beast, and then Aquaman was in his mouth. So Aquaman uses the trident to pry his mouth open, keep the mouth open. And that happens in Star Wars Return of the Jedi. And you know who owns Star Wars? Disney. And you know what else Disney owns? Marvel. That's my theory.
What?
Because of like Star Wars prying the mouth open. It makes perfect sense. Only the true Star Wars fans would catch that and would get mad at it. So that's why I'm mad.
I don't understand what he's saying at all. Okay, let's see. I have some notes. Took some notes on this movie.
Those are your notes? Come on! What is that?
Yeah, the special effects. This movie is really heavy on CGI and special effects, and I think mostly they did a great job. There were a couple iffy ones, like some of their like armor they had on it looked strange and didn't feel right. There's just like a head in this weird CGI suit, but I liked most of the effects. I think it was like very heavy on CGI. And I had no problems with any of the acting. I think everyone was casted really well, and all the acting was really good. So yeah,
I really liked I wouldn't say casting, because you could cast it easily. I really liked that, like, Jason Momoa, he's not that famous. Like, you could have gone with, like, whoever else, like a really famous guy, like, Tom Cruise. Because, like, he's famous, he can act, but I think they did a really good job being like, Momoa's good. Like, it's kind of like what Marvel did. Because when they casted Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. was, like, coming off in the 90s. I don't know what was wrong with him. His life was terrible.
He had some problems.
I think he did. He had something. But, like, they still, like, you're a good actor. And I think that's a part of being casted for, being the caster for superhero movie. The caster. Yeah. For a superhero movie. Because a superhero is not just a character. A superhero has to be funny. You can't have a good superhero movie if it's not funny.
Yeah, there were some awesome like little clips that come up with.
Aquaman's first line.
Ow.
His first line was hilarious. He's like, he breaks through the submarine like boom, and then he's all like, "Permission to come aboard," and it's so cool because yeah.
And I love the music. There were like all the background music. For some reason, recently I've been noticing the music in like movies and TV shows a lot more. And I don't know why, but I have. And the music was really good. It really like hyped me up. Like this movie, I wouldn't say it's a like greatly made movie, but I was not bored for 1 second of it. It kept me entertained through the entire thing.
I would also like to hate on the kissing scene in this movie.
You're gonna hate on it?
Yeah, I'm gonna hate on it. So, you know what? I'm gonna bring in the next movie we saw, Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
There was a couple in that, and it was like the biggest relationship build-up ever. And we got absolutely no backstory on how their future goes up. Do they get married? There wasn't even a kissing scene. And you see, So why Aquaman has one of those, like why Aquaman has a kissing scene, doesn't make any sense to me. Like, it's not needed to make the movie good. Like, I could have easily done without the kissing scene. Just any kissing scene. Even the greatest kissing scenes ever. I don't need it in Aquaman. There's, like, yeah.
That was strange. They just, like, froze it and, like, rotated around it and just held it for a long time. And it felt like it was just, like,
Cringe.
Lasers were shooting everywhere. So, they were shooting everywhere except for exactly where they were. Like, 5 feet radius, you couldn't get shot. Like, I would love to have that superpower of, like, not being injured within 5 feet. Like, nobody walked within a mile of you.
I have two major problems with this movie. And first is the dialogue. There's so many times when the dialogue is just, like, the most cheesy, cringeworthy lines ever that just make you, like, ugh, it's so bad. Like, why did they have to put that in there? It sounds so terrible.
Cringe.
There was a lot of that. That was like, I mean, is that
So I have something to say. Mia. I hated the character Mia.
Mara? That was Mara or Mara.
Mia. It's Mia.
Okay.
The actress was good, Mia. I'm not hating on the actress. She was good. The character was just so annoying. She kind of reminded me of Marion in Indiana Jones. Just worse. I hate those characters who, like, all the important stuff they're really dumb on. Like, they don't know anything for the really important stuff. But then, no, for just this, like, but then they randomly come up to save the day. Like, come up with an idea. And it's like, how Mia's like, oh, it needs water. But then, like, later, I don't know, it gets me annoyed when a character does something that's, like, really important, but then that's all they do. They don't do anything else. The other character has to get their way. They have to do it. Like, you know? Like, I feel like, okay, that probably doesn't make any sense.
That makes a little sense. Other major criticism with this movie is the strange, like, they go all weirdly National Treasure in the middle of this movie.
I've never seen National Treasure. I know what it's about.
Bad Nick Cage movie. Could have been really good. And I thought we were making a video about why I'm making me so mad. But, yeah, maybe we'll do that at a different time. But it's like this big, epic, underwater, legendary thing, which is all these action sequences, just action sequence after action sequence. And then all of a sudden we get, like, this just flops. And we're, like, in the middle of the Sahara Desert, like, tracking down clues, trying to find this object. And it felt so out of place. And, like they ripped the second act out of one movie and stuck it into this one. And yeah, that was so. It pulled me out for a few minutes. I was like, "What's going on right now?" But then when it went back to what was happening in the beginning and it carried on, then it felt better again. And it was flowing better. But like it felt like those two, the first third and the second. Well, no, that National Treasure part of the movie wasn't a full third, but let's just say it was. So the first third and the third were connected, then they just like split it in half and stuck this in the middle and felt forced.
Oh yeah, Atlantis is supposed to be, the myths say it's supposed to be this beautiful city. And I think it should be. But they made Atlantis look disgusting. Like all mossy and like seaweed everywhere. It just doesn't look like sacred. And I feel like Atlantis should be sacred.
Well, like when I was saying, I didn't like the part where they're like tracking down the clues of the movie. But during that one part, like towards the end of it, there's my favorite action sequence of the movie when like Black Mantis shows up for the second time with his full new Atlantis suit. It was like one of the best shot action sequences I've seen in a long time, and all the action sequences in this movie were shot really well and done in a really interesting way. And this movie was mostly action sequences. It was just action sequence after action sequence, and they were all done really well. And I thought this movie was very entertaining. A lot of good music, good acting, awesome special effects, amazing acting.
You said acting twice, man. Come on.
And it was really entertaining. But there was, the dialogue and a lot of cheesy lines and stuff that kind of pulled me out, which was really annoying. But outside of that, it was good.
So I'm glad you reminded me of that. So Black Manta, spoiler if you didn't see the movie already, falls off a huge cliff. a huge cliff and hits like 70 billion rocks when he falls down, and then he just sinks the ocean. But in the post-credit scene, we can see he's drifting on an raft, and I'm like, how is he alive?
Yeah, he should have been dead.
Even if he was in that really highly equipped suit, it just doesn't make sense.
I would agree with that. I mean, there's a lot of things in this movie that don't make sense, though. Like an entire city of people that can breathe underwater. I don't think that makes sense either. But he reminded me of something. Like I like the main villain, his half brother, but like Black Manta was not in this movie that much. He was in that first action sequence. Then he came to that one action sequence that was my favorite. But outside of that, he wasn't really in the movie a bunch. I think a little bit more of Black Mantis would have.
Black Manta.
I've been saying Black Mantis this entire time.
I've been saying Black Manta. I think you been saying Black Manta.
Well, I mean Black Manta. More of him would be would have been better, I think. And we did get teased. There's probably going to be more of him in the sequel. But I probably preferred him. I may think he's even a better villain than his Aquaman's half brother. So, yeah.
Final thoughts. Aquaman was good. Spider-Man was good. Both movies were good.
I agree. I enjoyed both of them a lot.
They both had their flaws. Aquaman more than Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think Aquaman has more flaws than Spider-Man does, but I think because of how awesomely shot these action sequences are, like they're still kind of like level out.
I still prefer Spider-Man to the Spider-Verse over Aquaman, though. Don't get me wrong. Spider-Man's better, but I mean they're pretty close.
Yeah. I'm not sure when, but eventually it might be right before this video comes out, or right after this video comes out. We also saw Mary Poppins Returns finally, so we're gonna have a review of that out soon too. We're gonna film this. We're gonna film that video soon. I'm not sure when it's gonna come out.
I also want to say for a DC movie, I've never seen any, but I've heard DC movies are like really bad.
You've never seen any?
This is the first one I've ever seen.
Like you saw Wonder Woman, didn't you?
No, I didn't see that. Wonder Woman sounds good. But I just realized that one of these is a Marvel movie, one's just DC.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for DC, this seems awesome.
So yeah, we know we saw these movies later than most people. Are getting a review out later than most people, but that's okay because like me and a lot of other people like to say,
better late than never. That's all for today. So until next time, goodbye.
Cringe.